Good afternoon, and thank you, everyone, for joining us. Joining me this afternoon is Joe Panetta, who is President and CEO of Biocom, Peter Kallstrom, who is the President and CEO of the San Diego Workforce Partnership, as well as Jeff Longnecker, who is President of the San Diego Distillers Guild and owner of Seven Caves Spirits. Let me begin with something that I think all of us know, that April is a critical month. This will be the month where all of the efforts that we are doing, social distancing, stay at home, can really make that difference to flatten the curve. So I just want to thank San Diegans, but also remind all of us, this is the month that is really, as I said, going to make a huge difference to get on the other side and flatten that curve. Today I'm going to cover a few important topics. First, what San Diego's local manufacturing industry is doing to support our San Diego community and to help slow the spread of COVID-19. Second, a daily update on public safety staffing. Third, I'm going to talk about guidance from the California Department of Public Health and the County of San Diego regarding facial coverings. And lastly, I will end with good news shared through our San Diego Steps Up campaign. The fight against COVID-19 remains an all-hands-on-deck effort. Hospitals, government, businesses, nonprofits, our faith community. And every single family, every single San Diegan has a very important role to play. It is more important than ever that we are using every resource available to keep San Diego safe. And so today, I am calling on our San Diego manufacturing industry to help continue the fight that they're doing, to help shift their operations to support the battle against COVID-19. There are certain items across the world that are in low supply and that are in high demand. Nurses need face shields. Hospitals need ventilators. San Diegans need more hand sanitizer, and the list goes on and on. San Diego has a great reputation for innovation and ingenuity, and we are uniquely positioned to help meet these needs. Today, as I think many of you know, the President signed a new Defense Production Act order. It requires 6 medical device companies across the nation to produce ventilators. One of those companies is ResMed, one of San Diego's most innovative and successful businesses. In fact, I spoke with ResMed just a couple of days ago, and they were already dramatically ramping up production at their facilities overseas, doubling and tripling their efforts. So I appreciate everything that they are doing. ResMed is a great example of a San Diego company that is rising to the national and worldwide challenge. And that's why I'm calling on businesses and industries that are able to help reprioritize productions to do the same, to join their efforts, whether it is towards protecting our frontline and public health care workers or producing items that are in short supply. We have the capability right here in San Diego to make a meaningful difference. And when it comes to this aggressive virus, we must literally use every tool in our toolbox. And that's why we're leveraging our strengths and identifying resources to help businesses make these moves here in San Diego. We're working with groups like the San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation, which is connecting manufacturers with supply chains. We're working with groups like Biocom to identify the needs of our frontline workers in the medical field. And we're working with the San Diego Workforce Partnership, which is helping to train people for essential jobs that need to be filled. And they're also, I might add, offering assistance in navigating unemployment benefits as well. And so today, I'd like to briefly highlight a few of our local manufacturers that have already pivoted their operations to help produce critical items. I'm going to introduce Jeff Longnecker in a second, who's going to speak about a couple of weeks ago what his and his fellow distillers were making gin and rum. And some would say that's already a critical service, but in the face of COVID-19, they shifted gears and they changed their focus. Now they're making much-needed hand sanitizer. They're bridging a gap that is badly needed with products made with formulas that follow guidelines set by the FDA and the World Health Organization. And so while it may be unconventional, we're encouraging all companies who can replicate this type of ingenuity to do it. Now is the time. So before I introduce our speakers, I want to do a few important updates. As we regularly do on these briefings, I'd like to provide a quick update related to our public safety personnel. Today, there are no new cases to report within our public safety departments. But unfortunately, we have not seen the worst of this virus, as we all know. So we have to continue to take precautions available to all of us to help keep San Diegans safe. We've heard guidance from the state and earlier this afternoon from our county health officials. So I'm asking all San Diegans to follow the strong recommendation from our county public health doctors and wear facial covering while they are out in public. Our public health officials had advised that you can use any cloth materials to cover your nose and your mouth. Let's save the surgical mask, the N95 mask, for our medical workers who need it the most. The reality is that most folks should not be out in public in the first place. So I will reiterate, all San Diegans should continue to practice physical distancing. And almost all San Diegans, unless you are performing an essential service, should please remain at home. Wash your hands for 20 seconds. Practice physical distancing of 6 feet. Avoid touching your face. Adhere to the stay-at-home order, especially if you are sick. And if you're healthy, when you leave your place, please cover your face. We need all hands on deck. We need to all do our part to flatten the curve. And now I'd like to introduce Joe Panetta, who is the president and CEO of Biocom, who's going to say just a few words, again, back to that local innovation in biotechnology that we are leading the country and the world in. And I want San Diegans to take great pride in some of the phenomenal work that is happening to really battle COVID-19. Joe?
Thank you, Mayor Faulconer. As the mayor said, I'm president and CEO of Biocom. Biocom's the 1,300 company life science industry association founded here in San Diego and serving the entire state of California. It's a pleasure to be here today with my colleagues at a very critical time for all of us. If there's one thing that I know, though, about Mayor Faulconer and the other speakers here today, it's that here in San Diego, we know how to foster collaboration. We know how to work together as a team. We know how to build partnerships. And now we are all together focused on a very urgent single goal, and that's the eradication of the COVID-19 virus. I want all San Diegans to take pride in this life science community that we've grown over 40 years here in San Diego. We've developed many groundbreaking therapies here, many diagnostics, many medical devices over those years. And in the last few months and in the future, there will be an aggressive effort to mitigate the impact of the coronavirus, and that'll be led by researchers, technicians, engineers, scientists, and others here in our San Diego life science community. We've got local companies stepping up to address coronavirus across the board. Some, like Hologic and Thermo Fisher and Quidel, are developing the diagnostic tests that we need. Others are working to develop potential drugs to treat the virus, such as Sorrento Therapeutics and Takeda and Gilead. We've got companies that are working on vaccines, like Inovio and Arcturus. Some, like BD, are producing the devices, such as infusion pumps, that are keeping coronavirus patients alive. And some, like Illumina, have developed the sequencing equipment that is being used to better analyze this virus. These and many other companies in San Diego are working nonstop to bring life-saving resources to change the course of this global pandemic. So that said, what else can we all do? It turns out we can do a lot. Biocom's calling on all life science companies, and just as importantly, the entire business community, to donate lab testing and diagnostic equipment to hospitals, to donate personal protective equipment and medical and scientific expertise to combat COVID-19. Through coordinated effort, we're bringing additional supplies and resources to our healthcare institutions so they can continue to treat patients safely and efficiently. So, to make donations or to request donations, please go to our website at biocom.org, and there you'll see a link to a coronavirus resource page. If you click on it, you can go to the donations page. Take a look, see how you can help. Additionally, we've set up a partnering site on our research center where companies can connect and they can collaborate to develop COVID-19 related products together. We appreciate all that the mayor and all of our elected officials and public health officials have done here in San Diego to beat this pandemic. We're going to be able to do that as a life science community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you again for all of the phenomenal work that all of the companies in Biocom are doing to lead this effort, again, not just here in San Diego, but across the globe. Next, I'd like to introduce Peter Kallstrom, who's President and CEO of the San Diego Workforce Partnership. Peter?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and it's great to be here in this very sobering and unique time in history. But following the mayor's advice, we will get past this. April is the most important month, and then we can hopefully slowly get back to normal. So please do heed the advice that the mayor has shared and all of our leaders. The Workforce Partnership in normal times and now, we operate or fund career centers where people go to get support in their career journey, to get back into the workforce, to skill up for the next job in their journey. But right now, as we've seen more layoffs than any time in history, and it's incredibly hard really on everyone. And so first of all, we empathize with what everybody is going through, and we're here still to support both the employment community, the employer community, and the workforce, or the workforce that they have and have now had to sideline until we get past this. But at our website, workforce.org, we have a wealth of resources to help employers navigate the resources that are out there. Things are changing quickly with new federal funds and state funds. We're optimistic that some will come our way with the relief and stimulus package that was recently passed. And so those resources, once they come to us, we'll be able to deploy them out to the community in a variety of ways. We're also hopeful on new funding that will allow us to pay for the wages for examples like we're going to see today, where we can help the manufacturers as they pivot to doing new things in order to support our community during this crisis. Again, just go to workforce.org. We have an employer tab and a worker tab for a lot of unique resources in each category. With the employees who have been laid off by the tens of thousands, we're here for you. We help work with you on the unemployment insurance applications in order to get dollars into your hands quickly, and also to help with the job openings that there are still now. Things have shifted, many with grocery stores and other stores that are able to remain open during this time, Amazon and other things like that. So there are still some jobs available. We have them posted on our site. We have a business services team to support employees who are able to get back into the workforce, into these essential functions. And lastly, again, we just really feel for the community. This is hopefully some short-term adjustment, and it's real pain, but we will get past this if we heed the advice of the mayor. And April is a critical month, so if we can bring this down, we can get back to normal. But if we don't, it's going to be a much longer recovery. So please listen to the advice, and we will get back there. In the meantime, come to workforce.org, and we're here to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Now I'd like to invite Jeff Longnecker, who is president of the San Diego Distillers Guild, and he's owner of Seven Cave Spirits, to say a few words. And Jeff, thank you for everybody that you and the Distillers Guild are doing. Come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 3 weeks ago, Seven Caves and all of the 19 distilleries here in San Diego were involved in producing spirits like this. This is a delicious bourbon from Liberty Call Spirits in Spring Valley. We had no idea that less than 2 weeks ago, the FDA and the TTB would issue us guidance and tell us how to get into the business of making hand sanitizer. Of course, all of us, the root of all alcohol is ethanol, and we all make it. We've all talked about it to determine about, oh, how can we make this product? We all knew how to make it. There's lots of recipes on the internet. But the FDA came out and issued guidance of a World Health Organization formula that a lot of us having the base alcohol could then create this hand sanitizer. So 2 weeks ago today, my buddy Bill at Liberty Call and I got together at my shop in Miramar, worked on a small batch, a couple gallons, and tested it, saw how it worked. Every single distillery that you can think of in San Diego has been doing the same, and since that time, we've grown exponentially. And when I say exponentially, we started out with maybe 3-4 gallon batches. Now we're looking at 400 or 500 gallon batches at a time, and turning, rather than making a delicious 4-year-old bourbon, we're making gallon jugs of World Health Organization approved hand sanitizer, and we're getting it to the people who need it most in the community, from hospitals to firefighters to police. Today we had a gentleman from the San Diego Police Department narcotics unit come and pick up a couple bottles. But the bottom line is we have it. Almost every distillery in town is producing it right now, and if you're in need, please reach out. Most of us are giving bottles away to the public. A lot of us are selling it as well to large companies that are in need. But the bottom line is we are working on it together as a team. Every San Diego distillery, from small ones like my shop and Copper Collar in Santee to Bill's Liberty Call to the giants like Cutwater, are making this hand sanitizer right now. We all have it. So please reach out to us if you're in need. Lastly, one of the reasons why Bill and I got into this process to begin with was right before the outbreak, when the restaurants were shut down, Bill at Liberty Call was going to open a brand new distillery and restaurant. And since he wasn't able to do that, he had staff that he didn't want to lay off. So rather than lay off his staff, he transferred them to the production of hand sanitizer in Spring Valley, keeping these guys employed, which is just, I think, a really cool thing to do. So on behalf of the 19 distilleries we have in San Diego, I think I could speak for everybody and say, you stay sanitized, San Diego. Thank you.
Well done, Jim. Well done. Thank you, and thank you for all you're doing, all the distillers. Huge difference in literally like 10 days. Thank you. Finally, as we do every day, I'd like to conclude today's update by sharing some stories of San Diegans who continue to step up. And just as we are encouraging San Diego's business and manufacturers to continue to think outside the box and step up where we need it in the fight against COVID-19, we continue to hear amazing stories from San Diegans who are stepping up to really lift up each other's spirits during these very difficult times. For one is Skylar, who is a 23-year-old former foster youth. Skylar is currently in a transitional housing program, and she wanted to do what she could to help her struggling community. She understands the power of artwork and what artwork can do to help brighten somebody's day. So Skylar reached out to her program manager, Carol, to explain how she was feeling isolated during these last couple weeks. And she knew that others in the community must be feeling the same. So Carol responded by bringing over art supplies, including paint, brushes, and canvas, to help Skylar use her creative outlet, which she loved doing. And she thought that she could help others in her community by doing the same. And so when her artwork was completed, Skylar made, Carol reached out to a skilled nursing facility right in their area of City Heights, because she knew that seniors and so have been some of the hardest hit, of course, by this stay-at-home directive. And many of those seniors, unfortunately, are able to have family and friends to come over to help them through these very difficult times. But Skylar still wanted to find a way to brighten these seniors' day. And now her artwork, which she gave to them, is on display at the senior facility in City Heights. And I share this because the simple act of creating artwork to help brighten somebody's day who can't get out, to let them know that they're being thought about, that this city cares about them, is really a great example of San Diegans continuing to step up, standing together to help one another, and to let a friend or a family member know that you're not alone. You are not alone through all of this. So I want to thank both Carol and Skylar for stepping up where we needed it to help bring our community just a little bit closer to one another. I'm going to continue to share these stories because it is important for all of us as San Diegans to know that we have a very powerful network of help, of support, of love. And so when you see a San Diegan stepping up to share their story, please use the hashtag San Diego Steps Up. And when we get on the other side of this, and we will, it will be because we are one city that stood together. That concludes today's update. I'm happy to answer any questions from any members of the media. No questions at this point. We do have one right in. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we have one from Monica Dean at NBC7 asking if there is a central contact or location for local companies and organizations who have the means and expertise to answer the call for help, and who should they contact?
They can go to our city website. We'll have a button on that you can go through. And Joe, is there another website that you would want to make sure?
They can go to the biocom.org website.
Biocom.org and sandiego.gov. Great. Thank you for that question. Appreciate that. With that, thank you. Thank you for being part of today's update.